Good afternoon. My name is Sean Krakowski, and my quality of character presentation is on being a lifelong learner for MSCE 530 Ethics in Sports. And so, before I get into it, I wanted to show a short video about what it means to be a lifelong learner from another successful coach.
So, you just mentioned just lifelong learning as being something that's really important, and now like taking on projects like you mentioned and going to courses and like the convention. How important is that for your program to continue to develop, that you continue as a coach to keep adding layers to your coaching ability?
Oh, big time. It's really important. I feel, for me, just because I find it fun, first of all, to see what level I can improve my own knowledge of the game and what I can bring to the program. But partially because of what I was talking about with Jimmy Walker, right? It's inspiring to your players, to the people that you work with on staff, hopefully too. If I expect my players to constantly be learning, I should role model that myself.
So I agree with what Coach is saying here. I think it is important for your coaches, for your athletes, for your entire program to show what it means to be a lifelong learner and for us to continue to grow and develop as we go. And so what does it mean to be a lifelong learner? And so Webster's dictionary tells us lifelong, the definition of that is lasting or continuing throughout your life. And learning is knowledge or skill acquired by instruction or study. And so to be a lifelong learner, that means we're studying, we're learning, we're taking in information and seeking out information throughout our lives. It doesn't end at college. It doesn't end, when you first start coaching. It ends when you're dead, basically, because we know our brains need to grow and develop. They need to continue doing this throughout our lifetime. And so from the Bible, Book of Job tells us wisdom does not come automatically with age. I think as kids, we often think, oh, old people know because they've lived here and whatnot. But if you don't continue to grow, if you don't continue to seek, you're not growing, you're not aging properly. We know even from dementia studies that when you stop using your brain starts to atrophy. And so we need to keep growing and learning and stretching our knowledge base as we go throughout our lives, not just as coaches, but as human beings. And so Henry Ford kind of tapped into this when he said, anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or 80. Anyone who keeps learning stays young. The greatest thing in life is to keep your mind young. It's like I was talking about with dementia, with Alzheimer's patients, they need to do crosswords, they need to watch Jeopardy, they need to constantly be challenging their brain as they go through to keep your brain going. And same thing for us as coaches. If we don't continue to challenge our brains and continue to challenge our programs are going to atrophy and they're going to get old before they ever should. And so my personal definition of being a lifelong learner means that we're always striving to grow and getting better at our chosen field. Whether that's me as a teacher, I'm continuing to go to conferences, continuing to rewrite my curriculum, so I'm giving my students the best effort I can and what is the most cutting edge. And as a coach, I need to be doing the exact same thing. All right. And so Coach D really taps into this when he says coaches are constantly seeking coaching. The best coaches are lifelong learners. Almost all of us coaches were athletes at some point, and the ones who are coachable are usually the ones who are going to get the most out of their natural God-given talent. And so as a coach, I feel the exact same thing. I need to constantly be coaching myself and having others come in and coach me and tell me ways I can improve or have things with them to steal information that I can from them to maybe grow my program in that way as well. And so where can I do this? All right, so reading, I think, is probably the number one. There's internet, there's books. Coach Bloomfield, I took his class last year. He gave us a couple books that I've been working through. YouTube videos are where I really, really like to do it. You can look at pros are putting up their workouts. So Ali Ostrander, Athlete Special, Spencer Brown are two that I really like to watch. But even like Team Boss and all sorts of different programs are putting out their workouts. A lot of college programs are putting out their workouts, and Flow Track also did Workout Wednesday for many, many years, where they're putting stuff out that you can go look and see what these programs are doing and then modify that for your program. Podcasts are good. Josh Kerr is a famous runner from Great Britain who just became the world champion in the mile. He has a podcast I've been listening to. Same thing, you can learn to pick up things from him, not just for workouts, but how to treat athletes, how athletes need to develop and how they need to rest and all those good things. Conferences, I try and go to a conference once a year, but years constantly conferences. And then talking to peers, I think, is really, really important. I've been lucky that I've been pretty successful with my program. So with that, more information coming in, Coach Bloomfield that I met, I still talk to. My old master teacher who I learned this sport under, I still am constantly talking to him, training workouts, learning from him. And so these are just a short example of a few different ways we can do that. All right, so this image is just saying the exact same things. Active listening, make sure that we're actually taking in information when we're being told it, processing it, thinking about it, not always just talking. Networking and learning from other people, maybe setting a learning goal. I like to set something I'm going to do with my program and how we're going to maybe grow that year. And so set out something, research it, and try to grow in that particular area, reflect, and staying curious. And so personal story I kind of want to add in here is I grew up in team sports. I was a ball sport guy, so baseball, soccer, basketball, hockey, anything, tennis and golf even a little bit, but that was more just for fun. More competitively what I played was those sports. And through high school and even into college, I played baseball. And so I thought I was going to be a baseball coach. So I went into teaching. That's what I wanted to do. So I got to Houston High School. I did my student teaching, and they had 15 baseball coaches for their JV and varsity program. So like, yeah, you can coach second base. I was like, I don't know. That doesn't seem as fun to me. It's my master teacher, my cooperating teacher, was the head track and cross country coach at Houston High School. He had over 100 athletes, and it was just him and Coach Perry, just two of them doing it. And so under him, I learned everything I know about cross and track. I started listening to him every day on our prep. We would teach 5 periods on our prep. We'd sit down, we'd talk about that day's workout, why we were doing it, what I expect to see on the athletes, how I could modify the workout if they were struggling, how to push them if I needed to push them, and all those kind of things. And so I learned a lot in that year and a half. I was able to lead my girls team to the first ever state qualifying bid in that school's history. It had been over 100 years, and the girls team had never made it to state. My team was the first one to do it, which was super, super exciting and kind of got me energized. And so I moved over to Livingston High School to actually start getting paid to do this. I taught cross for 1 year under the former head coaches, and we just had very different ways that program should be run. So I walked away. I actually went back and coached baseball for 2 years. Loved baseball. But when cross country and track job opened up, we had a long-term baseball coach and many coaches on campus who could do it, and no one who wanted to take over the cross and track program. So my athletic director asked me to take that over in 2018. And so from there, my first season of cross country, my girls team was able to make section. That's the first time in 10 years. And then going into track, a couple of those girls and a bunch of very, very talented track athletes were all very young freshmen and sophomores, and were able to win the first section title ever for a girls team, and only the second section title that had come in the last decade. Basically, it had been a long, long time. There's only been 5 total in school history, and so it's very exciting to win that. That continued in cross. My boys had made the state meet the last 2 years, and the year before that, in 2020, before COVID hit, two of my girls were able to make an individual bid to the state meet, which was very exciting. So I've had a lot of luck with what we've been doing. We've won 2 league titles along the way, but we've always been in the top 3 of a very, very competitive small school league. Including during COVID, we got pushed into the CCC because we couldn't leave our county. So we were going against schools of 2,000, 2,200 kids. My school is about 1,000, 1,100. And we were able to really compete against those big boys. We took second on the boys' side, third on the girls' side against teams that were very, very talented, very, very big. And I've also been lucky enough to send 3 athletes on full scholarship. The reason I talk about this is I didn't know anything when I took over this program. I learned a little bit from Coach Bernard, but I was constantly researched. I was constantly worked. I was a distance guy. I had to start coaching throwers and sprinters and all that, jumpers and all that kind of stuff. And so I've just learned and learned. I'm still pushing myself because I'm very much a novice. This is only 8 years in that I've been doing this, and there's so much more I can learn. And so I think it's really important, and showed in the success my program's had of really pushing yourself. Here's some pictures of us along the way as my girls when they won that title. That was all freshmen and sophomores. Unfortunately, COVID hit, so we couldn't win 2 more of these blue banners. Just something that still haunts me to this day, but I was very excited to do that. This is my boys' team that just went to state this past November. This is them. They're the runner-up in the section meet that day as well. So Steve Jobs tells us to learn continually. There's always one more thing to learn. And I really think that's true. I'm constantly just trying to learn one thing, focus on one thing a season that we can really grow and continue to develop. And that's across the board. I think in baseball, we're seeing that with drive time and with launch angles. I think in other sports, we're seeing analytics come in. With track, we're seeing that along with the Norwegian method in endurance athletes, and maybe that's something we can learn from as well. So Coach Brown also says the same thing in teaching character through sports. He said, essentially, that you constantly stretch your mind, stay current, and increase your knowledge base. The best way to accomplish this is to attend coaching clinics, read coaching books, and watch coaching videos. And so he's just backing up another very strong coach, exactly what we've been talking about in here. And then finally, Allison tells us here, be a lifelong learner. Be on a continuous journey to improve yourself, your team, and your business. A leader who is continually improving themselves and sharing their learning with their team can take that team to greatness. So as I talked about my personal story, I really think we've had some terrific results, especially from a school that is not known as a track and cross-country powerhouse, to that we're really starting to be someone who's putting ourselves on the map and really doing that. That's just because we as a team and me as a head coach have pushed myself to learn and to push and to learn something new every day. So in conclusion is be a lifelong learner, helps you grow as a person, and also helps your team to improve and perform better. All right. Thank you for listening and have a great day.